Good evening. Welcome to another Friday closing bell for the week ending 4th of September. This week has been really a drag as the market continued its sideways market despite having to break back to 1601. Now, if you, in the scheme of things, if you look back what we have here so far, the market did make a wonderful break up after the long Merdeka weekend, and that was due to the so-called almost 25% gain in crude oil, which I will show you next. Last week, looking at on the 28th was here, and then we have 1st of September when the market came back up because Monday was a public holiday. As such, market gaps up, but that was merely intention by smart money to dispose, and finally the market came down. Now, if you look at here, market now is really hovering between 1600, but as it is, we broke below at 1590. Just let me draw your attention to this bar here. This bar, it's a low volume test. Market has closed below, so I wouldn't be surprised in this coming Monday that Dow Jones will sell off, and then this market will test back 1550, 1540, which is this level here. That's going to be a very scary level. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is where the market's going to be testing here. And if it does test, hopefully it makes a double bottom. Then we can see some sort of rebound to retest back the so-called 50-day moving average, which is at currently doing 1669 or 1670, which is quite far off. So if it bounce back here, we might just try to cross back up at 1600. So that's the level we wanted to be so-called foretailing going forward and seeing how thing as it is. So this is going to be interesting. Now on the weekly basis, let me just show you this chart here. Okay, here I have it here. Okay, this is how it looks like. Let me just switch this to a weekly basis. Right. Market definitely were gapped up. You could see 1650, sell back off again. So you look here, it's still a pretty much sideways market. Now any clue that we have will be definitely here. You see this? Whenever we make one of this long tail, market will be uncertain for the next few days. So even though if we do test back at 1540, I do think there's a chance the market will rebound back in here, like we see it here, like this bar here. Can you see this bar? Something along this line, testing back to 1540. That's what I expect next week to be. So if you can view it from a weekly basis, then we might form a double bottom, which it did here. Okay, most important is the tail coming to 1540 has to be lower than this 1503. So that's the prognosis going forward. It's not going to be easy. It's not easy for the heart. It's something that you should have a heart of a steel, like a lion going forward. Now let's look at the mid-cap stock, right? For it, not too bad. You can see we have a spring and markets holding up on a narrow body, narrow spread. Looking at daily side, you can see doing very well. It's holding up nicely in here. Cluster of closes, but very important when we see this, just like we see it up here, market shouldn't break lower. If it does, then it's continued downtrend. Definitely it is. We are seeing the widening of what we call the railway track between the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average, which means trend is continuing to go lower over here. Right. Going on to the small cap stock, similar story on a weekly basis. You can see nice tail. Change back to daily chart. You can see the market was trying to close back up and it's widening up here. That tells you trends is coming about. There's a possibility of the market rebound back to 1450 here as this 50-day try to cross back up. Okay, so let's talk about the foreign fund. Definitely foreign fund, we have 2 days of buying. That was just merely on the crude oil. Okay, we saw some crude oil rebound back, which I shall show you now, but since then it is still net off as minus 200 million selling as of 3rd of September. Definitely looking very bad here. Okay, what else I want to tell you? Not much of a good news. Okay, so we're done. Let's look at the FKLI. Right, hint here that we have FKLI as you can see here, looking rather interesting in here. You can see this is a daily chart. It's being sideways market in a tight narrow spread. If you exclude this, market gaps up in here. You have between high of 84 and what's this low here? Opening is 15. Look at the body here. 60, about 20 points, and you can see it's been a tight narrow spread in here. Interesting enough, how did I draw this? Okay, lots of horizontal line. I did draw those, right? Yep. Then you can see it's merely playing around with this level here. Let me take off one of these. I don't put too many of them. You can see here, nice support. You could say this is more like a trend cluster in here. We want to see another trend cluster, another trend cluster, trend cluster, trend cluster. So it does look like a resistance on top of in here. Another one in here. Or what we call hugging of the close. Hugging of the close. Cluster of closes, very close by here. So that's what we are seeing in here for the FKLI. Definitely, if you do break to 1540, learn to short. If it does break back to 1600, that's going long again. Okay, on the CPO, we did have a nice line change here, a very good one, but there's no follow through. It does point to a lot taking a cue from the crude oil prices, which I will show you lately. The market has rebounded back, and as such now CPO really taking a cue from the crude oil prices. Seeing that it breaks higher, it also follow soon too, right? So we done the CPO and the FKLI. Let's look at the regional market here. Now the regional market, as you can see, Singapore hasn't been doing that great, still trending it down. It's looking very bearish. Definitely going to retest back to 28.50. But what I want to see is some sort of spring. But you notice Singapore don't have springs. There's no institutional coming except on 17th of December. Other than that, there has been a lot of these trend clusters in here and just market breaking down, further going down in here. Okay, so that's how we see the market in here. Definitely going to retest back just like to 28.30 level in here, similar to that. Not much different also if you go on to the regional market. Okay, which is here, the Dow Jones. Definitely first look is the Dow Jones. Now Dow Jones, if you look here, it doesn't look good. This is an upthrust. We have to break down in here. Tonight is the level whether we'll break down or not. The wicks currently is pointing to so-called 26.26. So a lot of volatility coming in here. And also we have what we call the dead cross of the 50 and 200. So a lot of analysts are pointing to very bearish market in here. I think Dow Jones will take a while before it push back up. Definitely we want to see what is Janet Yellen will be saying. Now remember, there is this thing called the Great Shiminta, which is a 7-year bad cycle. Something is bound to happen this 2 weeks or 8 days more. And take a look at it. If you look into scheme of all things, it is quite true what it is. You say here we go. It's a 1-9 trade. So it can either break both side or upside. Very similar to the other picture in here. Hang Seng, right, like it or not, has broken down to new low in here. Today they are back, so it's pretty down 94 points in here. Whether they can hold on, low volume definitely is holding up, but trend is still pointing down. Everything is pointing down. On Australia market, be nice doji in here, like that. What I'm just talking about, double bottom. Hopefully we see a rally back. For Hong Kong market, we definitely take a cue from Shanghai market, which is on holiday for 2 days for the Chinese military parade. So we see these two little dash here. So there's no trading out. Even Japan has fallen a lot more in here. You can see lower lows, right? So that does point to this market breaking down lower. And I do see, if that's the case, Malaysia will also break below the 1540, 1530 level here. So that's going to be quite interesting going forward. Now let's look at the gold market that we've seen so far. The ringgit, despite all it is, has have an upthrust. Then we have a spring in here. Market continue. I possibly think this level, it does look like without volume it's definitely tough to confirm. Judging, I think we will hit 4.25 very soon, and with the TI, which is happening, a lot of political convention happening, a lot of people demanding some political resolution to what's happening in here. That has made Malaysian ringgit weaken. As such, it will be test 430 very soon. No reprise from the gold market as it continued to make breaking down to 1120 in here. If there is no chance of a raise of an interest rate, then we see this rebound back. Other than that, we will see gold tending lower due to the possibility of interest rate hike, and that's what we're seeing. Okay, let me just show you wicks, which is a measurement of fear and greed. Right now the numbers is doing around 26.59, and last week was 26.09. Definitely it's getting very bearish, or people are getting very fearful. Such a number is large in here. The last time we ever hit that around the 31 was last year October, but this round was really bad because of the Chinese slowing down, and which is paint a very definite horrible picture in there, devaluing yuan. You can see that we have not seen this kind of thing for almost 2 years, going back as far back to April 2013. It most we hit is about 20, but now for the first time we broke through that. So there's a lot of pessimism in it, as well as also we are seeing that also crude oil. Okay, I want to show you crude oil too. Crude oil, showing crude oil as it is, and crude oil broke back this 25% up, but what's holding up is the 50-day moving average. If it does break back to the 47-48 level, then we do see possibility of recovery on the KLSE, because many of our stocks, oil and gas, are driven by the oil theme that we see here so far. All right, so let's look at the stocks that we have last week, which is the 20. Ladies and gentlemen, things that doesn't look too right. As we can see in here that we have tests, and we have closed below this level of the test. So probably coming Monday, if Dow Jones cannot hold, we probably see this crash back to 1540. Look for retest to 1540, and possibly here we'd like to see a double bottom in here. Now remember, we have seen the regional market, all those has already broken down also for Australia, so it's not surprised if we retest back this 1540, which is this level here. With that, I bid you a very good evening and happy weekend. I'll see you next Friday. Bye bye.